time and money by skipping business trips and using GoToMeeting. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get 30 days for free.
We've been hearing about the Palm Pixi off and on for a few months now, and now the Boy Genius Report has said that he's hearing it's going to be coming out in later in October, towards the 20th. Is that actually a rumor we can believe? Not exactly sure. But more to the point, is the Palm Pixi going to change the game for Palm, or is it going to kind of keep things going steady? We're bringing in a couple technology journalists to talk about it. First off, Lance Ulanoff from PC. Lance, thanks for being with us.
Good to be here.
Also, we bring in Nilay Patel from Engadgets. Nilay, thanks for being with us as well.
Hey, good to see you.
So the Palm Pixi, it's this new, if you're not familiar, it's a sliderless phone from Palm. It's more like the Centro form factor.
It's like a baby pre.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a baby pre, more like baby in the Centro, kind of pre in the Centro, made a baby. We'll see anyway. Oh. Lance, what's your take? What's your take on the Pixi to begin with? And do you think that, does this? First off, is this rumor something that you think is going to happen? And secondly, does it even matter if it ends up happening this month?
Well, I think it's. I mean, it's going to come out on Sprint, right? I mean, it kind of doesn't matter when it comes out on Sprint because it's always going to be. I mean, the pre is $80 now, right? Yeah. So, how if this thing's $140 or if it launches at $50, I don't know why you wouldn't just get a pre on Sprint. I think what's going to be more interesting is when and if the Pixi comes out on other carriers, and I think that's Palm's strategy going forward. They can't release every single phone on Sprint and leave it on Sprint.
No, definitely. I mean, Lance, do you think that the WebOS? I mean, if the Pixi does come to Verizon sooner rather than later, I mean, is that sort of the first shot in really legitimizing WebOS as sort of a real contender to both Android and sort of the iPhone?
Well, the shot at legitimizing WebOS is getting a whole lot more apps on it. But I don't agree that there's nothing special or important about the Pixi, that it doesn't matter, if it comes out on Sprint. We have to remember that Palm sold well over 1 million Centros, a phone that, honestly, I thought wasn't very good. But there was something about the form factor, certainly the price, which was $99 at the time, which was kind of, broke a barrier, and they sold a lot of them. I spent some time with the Pixi, and it does have one significant feature over the Palm Pre, and that is the exposed keyboard. If you've used a Pre, you know that you're sometimes jamming your fingers under the screen, sort of the top part, and the side edges kind of almost wrap into the keyboard. This keyboard, though it's smaller, doesn't have that problem. I did notice some women picking it up who have smaller hands than me, and they seem to take to it quite easily.
The most interesting thing I've ever seen the most interesting way I've ever seen anybody use the Pre is a woman I saw who had it sideways. She had the browser in landscape mode, and she'd learned how to type with one thumb sideways. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it.
But they can do that. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you that the Centro form factor was great because of the exposed keyboard. I mean, it was a messaging phone, right? I mean, that's how they positioned it. It had a great keyboard. The Pixi has a great keyboard. I mean, I've used it. It's a good keyboard. I'm just from a pure. I mean, at $99, if you can get a faster phone, a better phone. I mean, they're saying that the Pre has a better processor, a faster processor, has more memory, all that stuff. A bigger
Wi-Fi.
screen.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you spend only slightly more money? It's $80. So, if the Pixi comes out and it's more money, I think that'll be silly. If it's free, I think it'll be a huge success.
Was that really what it's going to take? I mean, if it's, Nilay, if it's a free device, is that sort of where this becomes, a game changer for smartphones in general, or is it still just, another Palm thing that, it's great for Palm, but not really great for everyone else?
If it's free, I think it'll be a huge game changer. We just saw the Motorola Click is going to come out on T-Mobile for $200 and sit right in the middle of sort of the pack. And we were kind of expecting that to be cheaper than the other Android phones on T-Mobile. I think if you get a smartphone like the Pre that's running a modern, real operating system like WebOS and it's free, you're gonna explode your installed base.
Does it become? I mean, Lance, does that sort of make it like Razr level? I mean, the Razr originally was smartphone prices, if you remember. It was, really expensive, all these different things. Only celebrities had it. And then when it was zero with the contract, it was, with every single person had it. Does that make that Pixi the next Razr?
Well, what you're saying is so important because it's about scale. Palm has to sell a lot of phones, and they have to sell them fast. There are some reports that the pre-sales kind of shot up and then topped off, which is not good news. They need a phone that is going to be something of a must-have sensation because of price and some sort of intrinsic quality. With the Pixi, it's an adorable phone, but it's got actually a surprising amount of power in its space. And like the Central, it's a touchscreen, but then it has, you know, the ability to recognize gestures, and it has the better interface. But if they basically either give it away or sell it for $29, and it becomes this holiday phone, that's going to be a game changer for Palm.
Realistically, though, I mean, what are the odds on handicapping that? I mean, sure, the pre, we're seeing it for $79 at places like Walmart and Let's Talk. I mean, if this Pixi if it's free or $29 with a contract, Nilay, is that what you would expect out of Palm now, or is it still kind of sketchy?
You know, I think Palm has a strategy to attack every segment of the market. I mean, if you talk to them about WebOS, they're really proud of the fact that it can scale, you know, it not only can scale in size and fit different screen sizes, but it can scale to meet a variety of needs and form factors. And I think Palm is always going to have a keyboard. I think they're pretty clear on that. But I think they want to hit every segment of the market. And so if they're doing a free phone and they're doing a $300 kind of like professional phone, I can totally see them trying to hit every segment. You know, one of the things that I've heard about the Pixi is that the reason it's on Sprint is because Sprint has the easiest carrier certification of all the major carriers.
Interesting.
So I would not be surprised to see more. I think Palm just needs to get phones out. I think they need to just have devices in the market. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Pixi on AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon in the short future. But I think they're interested in showing that they can do more devices than the pre and showing that WebOS has a future. And I think if Sprint's certification is easier and that's what lets them put phones out the door, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Last question really quick, Lance. So, you know, we mentioned at the top of the show sort of the big problem is the app catalog, right? There's not enough apps. It's sort of closed. Now we're hearing that the developer process for getting apps submitted and approved to the app catalog is going to be pretty arduous. It's not going to be open like Android, whatever. You know, if you have a free Pixi, and you still have an anemic app catalog, and you still have the pre at $79, do you think that's enough to really sort of make it in consumers' minds a real competitor with the iPhone, or do they really need to have that app catalog? And you know, regardless of the price, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, they absolutely have to get that app catalog going. It has been the biggest stumble of this whole Palm program. I said before that they delivered the SDK way late. And then the flow of applications has been incredibly slow. This is an enormous problem for them. And remember, Palm just covering all markets and getting a lot of phones out there is not going to do it for them. They must sell phones, which means they have to excite people, which means that they better have a phone people want because it does a lot of stuff and it can do a lot more with all the apps they can download. That doesn't exist right now.
We got like 30 seconds. Any parting shots on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. And, you know, that's the problem that Android has now, too. I mean, Android has an app market that isn't, you know, stocked full of applications like the iPhone. I think that, if Palm gets its installed base, I mean, it's a chicken and egg problem, right?
Yeah.
If they up their installed base, their app developers can have incentives to put as many apps as they can. If there's more apps, there's going to be more users. Palm just has to jumpstart this process somehow. And, you know, I think a cheap or free Pixi is a great way to do that.
We'll have to see if they actually listen to the smart guys who are on TechView, because, you know, at least we'll give them some ideas. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. Lance Ulanoff from PC Mag, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Also, Nilay Patel from Engadget. Thanks for being on the show as well. I'm Randall Bennett. Don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. And really quick, thanks to our sponsor, GoToMeeting, you can get 30 days for free if you go to gotomeeting.com/techpodcast. Maybe I'll remember the URL next time. Anyway, see you later.
Head to avis.com/techbee and save 10% off any reservation or $30 off a weekly rental.